You know, our entire modern world, everything from our phones to green energy, it all runs on rare metals. But getting them is one of the dirtiest, most difficult jobs on the planet. So what if the solution wasn't to dig deeper, but to look up? We're about to explore how asteroid mining could solve one of Earth's biggest resource problems and, no joke, kickstart an entirely new industrial revolution.
To really get your head around the problem, let's start with a number: 10 tons. Just picture that for a second. 10 tons of solid rock and dirt. Now, what do you think we have to move that massive amount of Earth for?
A single ounce. That's it. That is the insane reality of mining here on Earth. We literally scar the planet digging miles deep in super dangerous conditions, all for these microscopic yields. It's become the great bottleneck of the 21st century.
And that really gets to the heart of Earth's platinum problem. We're not just talking about the financial cost, which is huge. We're talking about the immense environmental price we pay. The toxic waste, the energy we burn, it's just not sustainable.
I mean, the contrast is just night and day. On one side, you've got our current reality. It's destructive, it's dangerous, and it creates mountains of toxic garbage for tiny flakes of metal. But on the other side, you have the promise of space. Clean, automated missions that could tap into literal mountains of pure metal. It's a completely different ballgame.
Of course, there's always a catch, right? And the catch is a big one. Those mountains of metal are far away, about 200 million kilometers away, give or take. The problem has always been that from here, a priceless platinum asteroid looks exactly like a worthless pile of space junk. So how in the world do you tell them apart?
And that leads us to the first huge innovation needed to make this work: creating a treasure map of the solar system. The strategy isn't just about launching a ship and hoping for the best. It's about first identifying the absolute most valuable real estate out there. The key piece of tech that makes this possible is the gamma-ray spectrometer. Okay, stick with me. By putting these on next-gen satellites, we can see how an asteroid reflects certain kinds of energy. This signature, it's like a fingerprint that tells us exactly what it's made of, without ever having to go near it.
This is the perfect way to think about it. It's like giving an MRI to a rock floating millions of miles away. We can see its atomic makeup, we can figure out its density, and most importantly, we can pick out those golden ticket platinum-rich targets from a sea of totally worthless space dust.
Okay, so you've got your treasure map, and you've picked your target. Awesome. Now what? How do you actually get there and start digging? Well, this is where the mission becomes this incredibly delicate, high-stakes dance with physics.
The journey itself is basically a three-stage process. First, you launch a specially designed starship into orbit. Then, the really critical part, it gets refueled in orbit, giving it the massive amount of juice it needs to break free of Earth's gravity. After that, it settles in for a long, quiet cruise that takes months, just sipping fuel with its ultra-efficient ion drives.
You know, arriving is one thing, but anchoring is a whole other challenge. You can't just land. It's zero gravity. If you try to push on the asteroid, you just float away. So the ship's AI has to perfectly match the asteroid's spin, fire actual harpoons into it to get a grip, and then winch itself down tight to the surface. It's an unbelievably precise operation. Once it's latched on, the ship completely transforms. It becomes a fully automated, self-contained factory. Think about that. It's designed to process tons of raw rock into pure metal, all while operating completely on its own, millions and millions of miles from the nearest human being. So here's how this little space factory works. First, big tungsten crushers pulverize the rock. Then, powerful magnets pull out all the valuable metallic bits. After that, an induction furnace melts it all down into a liquid. And finally, and this is the cool part, a centrifuge spins it like crazy, using artificial gravity to separate the heavy, precious metals from all the lighter waste rock. And the result of this whole automated process, get this, an incredible 99% purity. You've got automated lasers checking the quality in real time, and if anything isn't perfect, it gets sent right back through the system for another round.
And here is the real game changer for efficiency. All that worthless dust and rock, it just gets shot back out into space. You only burn that precious, expensive fuel to bring home the good stuff, the valuable, refined metal. No energy is wasted hauling garbage across the solar system.
So now, with a cargo hold packed with pure platinum, the ship is probably the single most valuable object humanity has ever created. And that brings us to the final, nail-biting leg of the journey, the high-stakes return to Earth. The return trip is this perfectly choreographed sequence. The ship detaches and starts its long fall home. But instead of trying to land, which would be way too risky with that much weight,
It docks with an orbital station. From there, the pure metal is packed into special drop pods, which perform a fiery re-entry before splashing down in the ocean to be picked up. That splashdown really marks a turning point for humanity. We'd be moving from an economy based on scarcity to one of potential abundance. So what does that new world even look like? What happens when a metal like platinum suddenly becomes affordable and plentiful? Now you might think, well, won't that just crash the global market? But the strategy is actually really smart. The plan is to control the supply. By stockpiling the platinum and releasing it slowly, you can stabilize the price at a new, lower level, making it way more accessible for new industries without causing total economic chaos. And this is the real payoff. Cheaper platinum is the key to unlocking the green energy revolution. I'm talking about things like hydrogen fuel cells. It makes next-generation electronics and AI way more affordable. But maybe the biggest thing of all, we can use materials from space to build the next phase of our civilization in space. Ships, stations, even colonies.
This quote really puts the economic scale of all this into perspective. The commercial potential is just so mind-bogglingly vast. It's pretty much a given that the person who truly cracks this code will become the world's first trillionaire. And that's going to kick off a brand new space race for the platinum belt.
But as this incredible technology races forward, it leaves us with a really profound question for our future. As we unlock this unbelievable abundance from the heavens, who actually gets to own it? Who writes the rules for the solar system's most valuable real estate? That's a question we are all going to have to answer, and probably a lot sooner than we think.